What's going on, guys? So I'm actually pretty excited to talk to you about this one. A company recently reached out to me called Sora Dora, a newer niche French house that I had never heard of, and didn't know what fragrance they were sending to me. Seemed like some pretty solid offerings, and I'm actually thrilled with the fragrance they ended up sending to me. I've been spending time with it for about a week now, and we are going to be talking about Gladiator here today from Sora Dora. I've got a lot to say about this one, so stay tuned. So in regards to this scent, when you spray this one, it's got a distinctive fragrance that it will remind you of. At first, I couldn't quite figure it out because it's got a little bit of a blue fragrance vibe to it, but nothing synthetic. This is all believable, authentic citruses because there's a ton of it. There's pineapple, there's grapefruit, there's bergamot, there's bitter orange, Italian lemon, there's a smorgasbord of citrus and fruity notes. And what stands out is this mint leaf type of smell. The mint in here is much more mint leaf, but it's not overpowering. It adds a little bit of zest and a different level of cooling freshness. Like I said, not too heavy, not too overwhelming. I have the dry down on my hand here, and it does have a faint similarity to a little bit of an Aventus, kind of falling somewhere in between Aventus and Cedrat Boisé. It doesn't have the smokiness and the musky nature, or even the sweetness, really, of Aventus. But the fruitiness, the light floral tone, it ties to it a little. There's a like 50% similarity. Like, it's there. You got to look for it. It was like, what is this? This reminds me of something. It finally came to me that's what it is. The reason I throw Cedrat Boisé in there is because it's so fruity. You have fruity notes, you have lemon, you have blackcurrant, you have all these different fruits and citruses and stuff like that, and plus all the wood in Cedrat Boisé. Now, you don't get that leather feel of Cedrat Boisé. It's more woody. The vetiver here and the woody notes provide this soft woody backdrop, and it is a very wood-dominant type of fragrance. You even smell woods pretty early on in this fragrance, but it's all about the zest of the citrus. No one particular citrus outside of maybe a little bit of apple jumps out to me. I believe there's a green apple note in here. And the coumarin here provides a little bit of a musky tone, like a slightly darker musky tone, but I wouldn't call this a musky fragrance. It's just a light tone of musk in the backdrop. I believe it's a blossom, white blossom note or something like that is the flower note that's in here. So it does have a little bit of a soft white floral tone, but again, nothing that's very floral, nothing that's very musky, but it is believable citrus and mint leaf with a nice, just authentic, almost dry cedarwood type of smell to it. The woody notes kind of jump out to me as a little bit of cedar. And it's very pleasant. This really, like I said, it'll remind you of certain things that are Aventus style, but it definitely does not walk that same path. Not even that parallel to the Aventus scent profile. It's just a faint similarity. And then after the, first 15-20 minutes, it kind of veers away from it. Not completely, but for the majority, it veers away from it. So the only reason I bring that up is because I finally figured out what it kind of reminded me of. But as far as the scent profile on this one, it's just stunning out the atomizer. It's stunning on skin. Top tier quality. Like I said, it's authentic and believable with the oils that were used here. They definitely used top quality stuff. And then on top of that, it's a parfum extrait. It's high oil concentration, and you don't lose a lot of the pop and the zest of the citrus, but it does take away some of that brightness to the top, which we'll discuss the performance in just a little bit. But the scent profile on here, this is super enjoyable. Mass appealing, versatile, but on that high-end luxury quality level of mass appealing. Whereas I can't see anybody not liking this fragrance. I could see people not loving it, but I don't really see too many people not liking it. I'm sure there's people out there, because not everyone loves every fragrance. But for me, this one's just a pleasant surprise. I didn't know what to expect going into it. And the more I spend time with it, the more I like this. And this might be one of my favorite pickups this particular year. This is really, really good to sniff on. Now, in regards to performance, this stuff doesn't go away. On my skin, 12 hours plus. I've clocked it at 12 hours. I've clocked it at 13 hours. I've taken showers at those points, so it could potentially go longer than that. And for a fresh scent profile, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. On my skin, it's a beast in longevity. What makes it not completely a beast is projection is more on the subdued side. This is not a super strong projecting fragrance. It sits closer to the skin because it's a high oil concentration. It took away some of the validity of the heavy citrus top note that this fragrance has. Like I said before, it doesn't lose the zest and the pop of this just ton of blast of citrus, but it does take away some of the heavy side of the projection. So when you first spray it, yeah, first 30 minutes, it's going to be very strong. Everything is very strong in the first 30 minutes. Projection doesn't really start to settle down until about 2 to 3 hours. And it's kind of arm's reach type of stuff. Maybe a little bit better. It is a strong fragrance, but it's not a beast. So there's a difference. Beast, you can smell me from several feet away for, several hours. Whereas here, you got to get within range. I would say 5-6 feet range, beyond a little bit beyond arm's length in the first hour, then about arm's reach type of stuff for another 2 hours, going into the 3-hour mark. Then as it starts to sit close to the skin, because it's such a high oil concentration, the sillage here is actually not a far departure from the weaker side of the projection, the latter stages of the projection, the strength of the fragrance, to where it falls into that moderate to slightly milder situation with sillage, where it's not real strong, but it's strong enough. It will remind you that it's there. It does have a density to the trail to where it will linger a little bit. There's opportunity for others to smell you throughout the entire life of this fragrance on your skin, at least in my experience. I think the performance suits this perfectly. The projection's not overwhelming, because I don't like just crazy in-your-face fragrances all the time. But of course, I'm like most people where, sure, I would like it to last on my skin for a long period of time. Usually the sweet spot for me is in the 6 to 8 hour range. This goes well beyond that. I'm very impressed with this. I do have a discovery set that I haven't opened yet to try the other fragrances from the house, but I'm extremely impressed with the scent profile, the quality, the blend, and then the performance on this one. Final thoughts on Gladiator from Sora Dora. First and foremost, I didn't even really touch on it with this cap. It's got a marble granite type of look to it. I don't think it's made of any stone. There's a little bit of plastic on the inner portion, but I really, really dig this dark gray to black gradients. The atomizer does its thing. It does well. Does its job. It's not some, Dior type of atomizer or Sean John 3 AM. It's not a fire hose. It does what it needs to do because it's such a high oil concentration. You don't need to douse yourself in this. It's going to last, and it's going to linger. And that's all that matters. It's going to last, and it's going to linger. This one definitely does this. I think this is great. This is a great fragrance. I will get plenty of wear out of this. This is dumb reach, can work for anything, anytime, but you're getting the quality, authenticity of the oils from like that authentic citrus and peppermint is the main thing. That's really the beauty of this scent profile. The top stays for a long time, and the ability for the performance to allow it to linger. It's a good sillage. Like I said, it's great. I think this is an 8.5 out of 10 fragrance. Gladiator from Sora Dora. Pleasant surprise. Didn't know what I was walking into as far as the scent itself. And what I ended up with, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have this. This is one of the better fragrances I've done a full review on in some time. I'm knocking out several full reviews right now. This is the third of the 4 I'm doing in this session that I'm going to spread out over one day. This is the best one. this is my favorite. Of course, the mass appealing one is my favorite, but it's just so enjoyable to sniff on. This stuff is great. This stuff is worth a sample. Get a sample of Gladiator. Well, that's my thoughts and feelings on Gladiator from Sora Dora. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback. And I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have heard of the house or tried anything from the house? I'm super pleasantly surprised. This little 50 ml bottle is going to go a long way for me, but I can see myself wearing this one. This would be a great fragrance when you want something fresh in the cold, because it's got that light peppermint mint leaf type of feel with all this juicy citrus and this lingering strength, just density to the sillage, sticks on the skin. This is a great year-round fresh fragrance that will shine in colder climate. For those of you that like to pull out a freshie from time to time, or strictly like to wear freshies even when it's snowing outside, I think this is a great fragrance for it. They can literally do everything. Dress up, dress down, signature scent worthy type of stuff. I'm very impressed by this fragrance. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Sora Dora Gladiator and you give it a spray now, I'm very confident you'll thank me later, because I think this stuff's great. Have a good one, guys.